Welcome to Mediocre Gaming, and today we're playing Cobra Kai. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Zero. Let's get to it. Alright, so today we're doing the overview for Cobra Kai. But before we get to that, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and ring that bell to be notified of all future episodes as soon as they go live. So let's get into it. So Cobra Kai has been out for a little while. The Karate Kid continues, so this follows the storyline of the originally YouTube Red or YouTube TV, whatever it was called at the time. They did a Daniel LaRusso and Johnny continuation from where it ended up after Karate Kid Part 3. So, they've grown up and they've moved on, and then Johnny decides to bring Cobra Kai back. So this follows along, I want to say around season 2 or 3, wherever it is that, Johnny's still in, or is in Cobra Kai. Daniel LaRusso has Miyagi-Do karate, and I believe Kreese is involved in there somewhere, so whatever the timeline is for that. So this is a very much kind of a what is that, 3/4 side scroller punch 'em up action type game. At the very beginning, you get to choose which dojo you want to belong to, either Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai gives you stronger attacks and gives you, special fire attacks. Miyagi-Do gives you freeze attacks and more defense and better counters. And I think Cobra Kai gives you better combos. So every encounter or every fight that you have gets rated on a D, C, B, A type scale, and you increase your rating by changing up the attacks. Now, in the beginning, you don't have a whole lot of attacks to choose from. You only have punch and kick, and then as you go along, you start getting more and more attacks unlocked and available. Additionally, you have upgrades that you can get with the coins that you've earned during different levels at the dojo. Now, enemies, you'll notice sometimes flash yellow or red. They have recovery skills, and then red are invincible moves where you're not able to damage them, so it's best just to stay away from them when they are red. So as you go along, you'll have little tips from Daniel or Johnny, unique skills that you can use. And as you go along, you'll get more and more. Once you have all of them unlocked, you'll be able to do a lot more varied attacks. And you have these environmental attacks. You just get close to one of these points, hit the corresponding button, and then you do a decent amount of damage to the enemies. And you just move on. Now, you do have a kind of ultimate type move that builds up over time, so you can unleash that when you need to, or when it's available. It's whatever you want to do. This reminds me a whole lot of some of the old arcade style games of, yesteryear. Like, actually gives me a strong, like, Final Fight vibes. Or any in that genre where you're kind of walking around and you're doing attacks and you're just getting, waves and waves of guys that you have to deal with. So there's a whole genre of that type of game, and I see that a lot here. Now, the unlike other or arcade style games where you have to, feed the machine with more and more money, this one's a little bit more balanced so that you don't get taken out and have to, continue or game over. All right, so I mean, you get the general idea. You go through, you fight guys. You've got little pickups that you can get, either weapons or life. You can see how much health the enemies have, just under your own health bar. When they die, they drop coins. The coins you'll need to improve your skills or gain new skills in the dojo. And that's only going to help you out in the long term. And of course, increasing your score on every stage. So when you first start off, you're probably not going to get a really great score because the number and types of attacks that you have aren't, that varied. Now, the first time you see any of the enemies, you'll get kind of a rundown of what they can do and what they have. So you're at least aware of what to expect. And of course, you can air juggle them if you're in the right position to do so. And of course, look out for those invincible attacks. A lot of times when they get up, but not always. Now, in addition to the special attacks, because you do get several of them over the course of the game that you can unlock, either just by playing or by upgrading in the dojo, you have that ultimate attack, which, it has to build up over time or with attacks or defeats. So you see after a while they kind of change it up where you have to go around a corner. So it's kind of interesting that way. Just keep on going through the level. You know that at some point you're going to come into something new, whether it is, finding a weapon that you can use, or maybe a new ability, or a new enemy, or a more difficult version of an enemy that you've seen previously. One that recovers faster or has stronger attacks, etc. But these are all basically cannon fodder. The only thing that's really changing is the backdrop. You're going through, the indoors instead of the outdoors. You're going through the arcade instead of the mini golf. Yeah, so when you see one of the enemies flash red, get away from them. If you're right next to them, then go ahead and you can either, as you saw, do one of your special attacks if it's not on cooldown, or dodge and roll out of the way. Once you get far enough, then you have the ability, or you gain a new ally, someone that you can swap out to. Now, swapping out has a couple of advantages. different people have different types of attack, and when you swap out, you gain some life back. So if you're getting low on life, then you can always swap out, and that'll help you out. In the first stage, at least, you don't have one right off the bat, but you'll have them further on. Now, eventually, you're going to get to the boss fight, which is at the very end of the level, which is very typical of this genre. Now, you can play as either, and you can switch between them, but there is a cooldown, so you can't just swap out willy-nilly. Now, the boss, of course, has a little bit more in terms of range, in terms of abilities and attacks. You have kind of a interchange between you and the boss before the fight begins. Now, it's probably a good idea to be aware, watch how the boss attacks so that you can dodge when you need to, and then, of course, attack when that comes up. Now, this particular boss, when he calls in his backup, that is actually probably the best time to attack, since he seems to not attack as often with his invincible attacks when his goons are out. But just keep chugging away. Use the weapons, which do a decent amount of damage, special attacks, and then look out for the goons so that you're still able to do damage on the boss. And then eventually you'll be able to take them out. Once you take them out, then that level is over and you can see where you can go from there. Additionally, it tells you how you did for the level. And of course, the interchange at the end between you and the boss, where the boss was taunting you at the beginning, and then they say, oh, you were just lucky at the end. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to check us out on social media. And thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. And we'll see you next time.